Before we get to the weekly report, I do want to say that I just live streamed today for about 2.5 hours and did a lot of charting on all the companies related to AI. So if you want to watch that, you can. I also posted all those charts in the Discord as well with some extra comments, and I'll be posting those on X over the next few weeks and some others because I didn't get through all of them because I had to make this content. So over the last several weeks, I've been talking on YouTube about this period of weakness for the market, how we need to be cautious. I've been long on VIX calls, and we ended up seeing those print pretty hard when we got the poor CPI data. I didn't know what event would trigger the market. I'm only talking about the underlying environment and looking to get exposure to a potential run-up in volatility because of that. Because of that, we ended up catching this plunge that we saw this week. While still maintaining some bullish positions, CRISPR got into the 80s all the way up to 86 and took some profits, rolled with those profits out further because I'm still bullish on biotech. We also saw CELH make a massive comeback. This position had been bleeding, and now we are back in profits here as well. And as we are coming out on the other side of this period of weakness, I am getting more and more and more bullish, but having to calm myself, not experience FOMO, because we're not out of it yet. And the next thing that could cause some major downside is going to be NVDA earnings. And before we talk about specific companies, let's look at the macro backdrop. We're seeing a very frothy top developing on SPY with a lot of these inflation fears. We're seeing that inflation seems to be becoming structural. It's not pulling back, but growth and productivity continue to be strong for the market. So it's kind of a battle right now. You should also be aware that there will be a lot of Fed speakers this week as well. I think that is not going to overshadow earnings. I think this is all going to lay on the shoulders of NVIDIA this week for where the market is headed. We're seeing a lot of this also reflected in QQQ. You know, on the TTM squeeze for both SPY and QQQ, we're seeing lower RSIs develop here. We're seeing signs that a bigger pullback could form, but your weekly and your monthly are still very strong. We look at Bitcoin, we can see that we are seeing some retracement here, although I wouldn't expect the same pullback from tech as Bitcoin, which, by the way, lots of people have said these haven't trended together at all. I think there actually is a pretty good correlation with Bitcoin and tech. And I think that more might be the relationship with how people allocate in periods of growth. But when we look at the pullbacks in tech, we don't see the same reflected in Bitcoin. In fact, they can even run opposed to one another at times. So I'm not expecting as big of a pullback on Bitcoin, although be aware of this RSI crossing with the SMA. You know, we can see that this causes some pretty big plunges to occur for those of you who are trying to day trade it. I don't day trade Bitcoin. I am just a long-term holder. I'm going to use any pullbacks as times to allocate more. I don't short Bitcoin. But when I'm looking at something like Mara, though, I'm seeing huge opportunities here to the upside. You know, we're seeing that the monthly is firing to the upside. Every time this monthly fires to the upside, Mara goes on massive rallies. Okay. So when I'm looking at Bitcoin, I'm thinking about the halvening coming up. I already have Mara calls, long dated Mara calls for June with a $40 strike, and I will continue to load into this position with some size. Sometimes there's only a few trades a year you have to get right to have an amazing year. To end the last year, it was going long on TLT with huge size. And I think this year, if you can just get Bitcoin and Mara right, or if you can come in on these AI rallies right, and you can have some size, you can be positioned correctly with the right convictions and understand that these can be extremely volatile. They could run against you in the short term, much like CELH, which was a pain trade at first that ended up paying out. You can be a huge winner. And here's what I'm seeing with NVIDIA. Now, this isn't the cleanest, so I actually have two probabilities, one bearish, one bullish, uncertain of which one will play out. When it comes to the actual earnings report, understand that there's a lot built into the anticipation of this earnings report. They don't have to beat, they still have to blow out expectations, okay? And a lot is being priced in right now. This company has a lot to live up to. A lot of the hype is already there, and you have to continue to carry it. There's a lot of momentum on your shoulders right now for the management at this company. So what I'm looking at here is that we've potentially finished a major 5-wave pattern. And the thing that you have to keep in line with Elliott wave theory is that when you have massive extensions on your third wave right here, it usually leads to a truncated fifth wave where we're not reaching that much more of a high. Same thing on the subwave pattern that we're seeing right here, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have this truncated fifth wave. We have a very clean ABC down, which makes me think that we might actually be forming a wave 1 here before we get a slight retracement, maybe back to about 641 type of range, or that this is actually the end of the fifth wave for this larger structure here, that this at the top here is the end of the fifth wave, at which point you could be looking for a further deeper retracement on the stock. Now, when we're looking at that further retracement, I'm holding a bullish bias here. So I'm looking for minimal retracements. I'm looking for something like 568 or 462. I'm looking for the minimal pullbacks because I think that there'll be too much anticipation, too many people wanting to step in and buy this, because I'm not expecting this earnings to be bad. I'm just expecting that it could not live up to all the hype that's built in. So when I'm looking at how this forms, these are the key levels you want to watch for. And I wouldn't bet on this either way. I don't think there's an opportunity here to even strangle the stock. In fact, it could just trade sideways. So I would wait till after earnings to make any moves. Now, if we're seeing a market further turn over, my favorite stock to short right now is probably going to be ARM. Now, we have a share lockup that ends in March. Keep in mind, SoftBank is sitting on tons of profits. I did a short about this, by the way. Go watch that if you haven't yet. And I think that they're going to want to take some profits here, especially since they're trying to build a $100 billion fund to build a NVDA competitor. I think that this company is way overvalued than anything else in the AI space by a huge margin. And I am looking to short this. I might not get that opportunity till later in the week, maybe even have to give it an extra week, but I'm going to have my eye on this because these contracts are going to move big. It is expensive, not great for small accounts, but I think you'll get some big moves out of this. You know, you could see this retrace back down to 100, maybe even come back down further than that. Let's talk about the trading for this past week. It ended up having over a 50% win rate, but not by a lot. Got chopped up on Thursday and Friday, which sucked. However, my allocations and risk management led me to have a very nice green week still. It didn't feel as great as previous weeks, for sure, especially after Roku decided to smack me across the face after that last earnings. And in fact, looking at this chart right now, I might even short this week, see if we can make some money back on this name and come back with a positive win rate for this company in particular, because this looks like it wants to go much lower. This RSI is just hanging down here in this oversold territory. The daily is breaking down substantially. We haven't got the print to the downside for the TTM, but I imagine it's coming right now. If we break below 71 or 70, there's probably a short opportunity here, and I'll be looking to take it. When it comes to the shares that I was holding, I'm probably just going to let those go. I was thinking I could probably wait and these will come back some. Maybe I could come out, I break even if I hold them, but I'm going to have to hold these for maybe 1, 2, 3 months, and there's so many opportunities in this market. I'd rather just cut them and just go to the AI hype. Go where the money's going. This isn't a period of time where I want to be a bag holder in my long term, just holding something that's dragging ass, especially when it sits in the tech sector. I just want to take my L here and start looking for more W's. I'll be going live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I went live today, even though the market was closed. And I'll be live on Wednesday. I'll probably live stream during I might live stream. No, I won't live stream during the NVIDIA earnings because we actually have a podcast. We have an amazing guest coming on. It's going to be extremely exciting. I cannot wait. We have a guy who lost over $100 million trading options. You don't want to miss that one. Trust me. Anyways, that's going to be it. Make sure you ring the bell. That also will be on this YouTube channel. Okay. Creating a separate YouTube channel for the podcast. Not successful. Did not get any views. Everything going to be on this channel. We're just going to go all in on this channel. So yeah, I got nothing else. See you in the Discord.